Hi everyone, and welcome to video number 6 in my series of videos talking about the Spark CAB. I think this is a bit of an important one, to be honest. I'm going to address some more things that have been coming up and answer some more questions. And I'm going to hopefully show you what I think is quite possibly the ultimate way of hooking up your rig and to your Spark CAB for the ultimate experience and sound for that matter. And we'll get to that in a second. But first of all, let's address the monster in the room, or the elephant in the room, sorry, and that's the whole microphone issue and the Spark CAB. The Spark CAB does not have mic. So my dog's trying to get in my recording studio. The CAB does not have mic level input. You cannot adjust enough gain, or any gain for that matter, from a microphone if you directly plug it into one of the XLR inputs on the back. You need a preamp. And I'm actually going to show you in part of this video how to go about that, how simple it is, and how little equipment you actually need in order for that to happen, in order to run your microphone and your guitar rig into the cab at exactly the same time, and getting better mixes and stuff like that. I'm actually going to show you as well in this video as well, not just the ultimate way to use your cab, but the ultimate way to use your setup so that you can actually record at the same time and get a great result. Okay, so first things first, so I've addressed the whole mic thing. So hopefully that's debunked. We know that the cab is FRFR. We did that in another video, which means it's full frequency flat response, designed to work with devices that have cab emulation. Okay, not designed to be run directly out of a speaker output on your 100-watt head. Okay, you will blow it. Okay, because you're sending power into something that's going to provide power to the speakers as well. If you have a modern amplifier that has a direct out with cab emulation, or has a direct out, not speaker out, direct out, and you have a device like a 2 notes cab M like I have, or some sort of load box, that's when you can go from your speaker out into the load box and then into a cab emulation device into this speaker here. There's a number of devices you can connect to the cab, the Spark CAB. I've got a number of them here. I've got my cab M pedal from 2 notes. I've got a Captor X, a Captor 8 ohm that I can run from my power amp because it's attenuating the load from your power amp. I've got a Tech 21 fly rig that has cab emulation on it. And what that does is it filters out all those frequencies that a guitar speaker does. Now we've addressed that already. Okay, so debunked it. Please understand, you cannot and do not plug a speaker out of your head, guitar head or combo into the cab. You would destroy your gear. You need to have a load box, or you need to utilize direct line out with some cab emulation on it. So hopefully that deals with that. Now, let's get on with the main topic of today's discussion about the cab, and that's hooking it up for the ultimate rig. Okay, I mean ultimate. For a mono amp, how you can get the best out of it. In a live situation, I'm talking about as well, not just in bedroom situation, but for live situation. So what I'm going to demonstrate here is, okay, so I'm going into a small pedal board here where I like to have some effects pre-Spark, as I've done in a lot of my other videos. It just gives me a little bit of boosting options here and there with different flavors, whether it be a compressor, whether it be my wah pedal, my tuner, a Digitech whammy pedal, or a couple of different boost devices, some clean, some with a bit of grit, some voiced differently. So I'm going into that. I'm going directly into my Spark 40. Now here's where it gets interesting, okay? From the Spark 40, I'm going stereo out, because I want to utilize as much as the Spark can provide to me. And the stereo imaging on the reverb patch in particular, on the Spark is where it's all at. It's where you can get that multi-dimensional sound, and you're going to get a much richer tone. In some regards, there's going to be situations where a mono signal and no reverb is going to be better. You're going to want that in a mix of a recording or something like that, or a live situation. But for the most part, when we're just noodling around on ourselves, that stereo image is sweet. It's the sweet spot. It's where it's at. Anyway, so from the Spark, I'm going from my output, and whoopsie daisy, I shouldn't have done that, but I wanted to show you. I've got my headphone out, 1/8" jack, or 3.5mm, maybe you want to call it. Sorry about that. From the headphone out, and I've got that running into my small Mackie mixer right here. And I've got that running into, let me just mute that. I've got that running into 2 separate channels with a split mono cable. Okay, one left and one right. And I have set the output on the Spark. Now this is an important one as well. The output on the Spark is set at an optimal level, all right, because any higher you start to get what I call pumping, all right, when you get that overly compressed thing happening and dips in volume. So there's an optimal level of the output on the Spark, and I usually find that around about 9 o'clock on your Spark. That's the main output there, before you start getting pumping. From there, you can adjust your input gain on your mixer. For me, I've got it set at around about 12 o'clock. Now, here's the important thing. So I've got each channel panned from one of them all the way left and the other one's right. And I will explain why in a second. Now, so left and right. Now, the other thing I've got going on here as well is I've got a high pass filter. So I'm actually engaging a low cut that's available to me on my Mackie little mixer here that will cut any frequencies below 80 Hertz, which is going to happen in a live situation, probably with your recordings as well. It just gets rid of some of that unnecessary sub-bass frequencies that will be competing with the bass guitar and kick drum anyway. So I haven't done any other EQing here. Now, this is where it starts to get a little bit more complicated, so bear with me for a sec, right? So, from here, I am running a stereo out of some alternate outputs here that I've got on my mixer. Stereo out into the 2 inputs of my Scarlett Focusrite 2i2 2 input, right? So basically, it's a 2 input interface into my my iMac, just recording into GarageBand, not GarageBand. And so, what that allows me to do is that when I do my recording of the guitar, I'm still capturing the left and right signal that's coming out of my Spark. Okay, now, but bearing in mind, because I'm utilizing the headphone jack out of the Spark, it's cutting out the Spark's inbuilt internal speakers system, okay? But that's what we've got the Spark CAB for, right? So, this is what we're going to do now. From a separate output on my mixer here, I'm going to run mono back, so only taking one of those channels. And for this example, I've used the left. Okay, sorry, use the left. Doesn't really matter. But I explain why it's better, in my discovery now, to run a mono signal to your CAB rather than letting the CAB sum the stereo for you, and why it's also better than switching to mono line out on your Mini. As I explained in another video, what you get when you do that is that it's summing the two signals together, so you're going to get a decrease in perceived wet effects like your delays and your reverb and stuff like that, particularly the reverb. It just almost disappears and you have to crank it right up to get anything going on. Now, if you run mono, you can basically have your original sound and the effects levels unaltered. In fact, you can get away with using less, and we'll demonstrate that in a second. So I've got only the left channel of my mixer going directly back in to one of the inputs on the Spark cab. And so, yeah, like I said, the reverb stays intact because it's not summing the two signals that the Spark has got going inside it. The minute I tried to send both, I did a bit of an experiment. I sent both the signals hard pan to left, and bam, all the reverb just got sucked up and disappeared. Okay, so running in mono, not summed mono, running in mono with the cab is going to be more ideal if you want a more pronounced effect, especially a reverb. So bear that in mind. Right. So with this setup, I'm able to run, and you don't need a mixer this big. This is like a 12-channel mixer, but you can get away with 4 channels or something like that. Really tiny, something from Behringer or something like that. I've got something else down there from Behringer, I haven't used it yet. But so all you need is enough to have your 2 inputs from your Spark, an extra input for your mic, and in fact I've got this mic that I'm doing this video set up on the same mixer, but I've got because I didn't want to get any feedbacking going on here, I've got the mic going from an alternative out, it's panned to the right, alright, so that it's not coming out of my cab here, so that I don't get feedback, because if I'm talking into it and there's volume coming out of there, I'm going to get feedback loop happening. So at the moment my microphone is panned right, and it's going into my interface so that I can record all this audio and talk to you guys. Now the other thing I've got going on as well, which you can do, and the benefits of having a maybe even a 6-channel mixer, I should say, rather than the 4, is that from my computer, if I want to have audio from whatever device I've got, rather than use the Bluetooth audio and have it go through the Spark and have to worry about levels there, if I have my phone connected to my mixer, for example, rather than this cab, I can have more control. So, for example, if I've got my computer here, or if I've got a backing track playing, I can actually have the audio come back out of my Scarlett 2i2, back into a stereo channel or 2 mono channels back into the mixer, and I can set them both to left so that they can come out of the cab as well. So everything is coming out mono. I've got a stereo backing track, but I can have both channels coming through the cab, and I can have my guitar through the cab as well. And I'm going to give you a demonstration as to what that sounds like in a second, so that you can appreciate how it actually sounds. The other thing I've got going on here as well is I've still got my Mackie reference monitors hooked up to my mixing desk here, but because I didn't want feedbacking going on while I've got the mic on, they're turned off. Now, for the purposes of playback, I could still have those playing audio or my guitar signal, because remember, I'm not not when I do my demo for you as well, because I'm going to capture a room recording of that. But when I'm doing recordings into GarageBand, I can have, because I'm only recording the emulated direct out of the Spark into my interface. I'm not having to worry about microphones. I'm not going to get any feedback looping. So I can have everything come through my stereo reference monitors and my cab as well to get this huge live in-room experience happening. Unfortunately, I'm not really going to be able to demonstrate that to you to its full effect because of the limitations with feedback looping and microphones and stuff like that. But hopefully you can understand what I'm talking about. And if you don't, send me a query, and if you need something explained further, I'll try and help and try and explain it in a way that makes a bit more sense to you. Sometimes I take it for granted that because I'm used to the gear and I'm used to messing around with things and inputs and outputs and all that sort of stuff, that I just take it for granted that other people would know as well. But I know that there are people here that have never touched a mixing desk. Don't be scared of one. You can get really basic ones. You can get ones that do a lot more than others. Mine is very basic, with very basic ins and outs and auxiliary sends, which I don't really utilize anyway. But I guess the main point I'm trying to make is how easy it is to have set up a situation where you can have direct to PA signal that's stereo, that remains stereo, that can go into a mixer, pan hard left and right. The mixing engineer for a live situation can choose whether or not he just engages one, you as left and another guitarist as right, or keep your stereo image. The other benefit of this as well is that you can go from your mixer, obviously to your PA speakers, and have a stereo image, and you can have your Spark as your fallback, your personal monitor. So you don't need stereo for that. So you can just have one of the monitor outs go back into your cab, like I've got going here, so that you can hear yourself, whether it's pointed at you or you have it on stage behind you. That's if you don't use personal in-ear monitoring systems. And so obviously the other thing as well is that I'm still capable of sending a stereo signal out to my recording device. And whatever's captured in this mixing desk, whether it's a 24-track mixing desk, 36, whether or not you've got the whole band going into the one mixer and you've got everything going back into the computer or out of the PA switches, you can still have a mono signal of going back into your cab so that you can hear stuff playing back at you. Anyway, so I think that's pretty much what I wanted to say about the rig and the benefits of running directly out of your Spark into a mixer, and then from your mixer back mono, not summed mono, but mono back out in your cab. I'm going to give you a demonstration right now with a little track that I've been working on. I wrote the solo to play over a track for someone, and I hope you enjoy it. It's only half of it. The rest of it is a bit longer, but no need for that. It's just to give you an idea. Enjoy. Until next time, ciao for now.